All right, guys, welcome into Compute This. This is a little bit different today. So I'm actually camping right now with my scouts. A couple things happened. Some scout masters needed some help, so I'm pitching in, and I'm in a tent right now somewhere. So I wanted to make sure I gave you guys a new show, so you weren't listening to a rerun at least. So I'm going to go over some stuff today, but it's kind of cool. You're going to see me actually record the show. I'm going to do a segment, and we're going to stop the recording, then we're going to process it, then we're going to do some math and figure out how much time I have left, and we're going to do another segment. I'm still going to drop the phone numbers. Obviously, I'm not in the studio, so don't bother calling in. There's no way to win. But because the show gets tape delayed in other markets, I want to make sure I'm still dropping those numbers. So let's do it. Grab the wrong mouse. Now let's do it. Good morning, folks, and welcome into Compute This. My name's Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, and Papillion, as well as anywhere you need us to be through the Schrock Desk. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Those are the numbers to join us on the program this morning, and as always, you can call us, be a part of the program, ask a question, make a comment. We will put you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate that we'll give away at the end of the program. Also, if you are on Facebook, you can actually watch the show at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. That's facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. So if you are in the car and you miss a piece of the program, you can always jump back over there, pick up where you left off. We're also connected through iTunes. You can subscribe to our podcast there. Or, if you're old school and you just want to go to the Schrock Innovations website and click radio show, you can do that as well, and all of the archive shows are there for you to listen to as well. All right, we have a pretty good show for you today, guys. If I had a bad show, I honestly wouldn't be here. But we have a pretty good show for you today. Today in the news this week, you heard a lot this week about Google's super quantum computer. Now, if you're a regular listener to the show, we covered this like 2 weeks ago. And, that's one of the things about Drudge Report. Sometimes the stuff is fresh, and sometimes it's fresh, new to you, basically. And so since it was in the news this week, we're going to talk about what happened there, what's going on with Google. Do they have a supercomputer? Is Bitcoin dead now? All the other things associated with that. Also, though, in the news, Apple's new operating system, Catalina. LibreOffice users, which is what we recommend you get at Schrock if you don't want to buy Microsoft Office. LibreOffice has all the functionality of Microsoft Office, except it's open source, which means it's free. So if you have LibreOffice and you have a Mac that's running Catalina, you're getting a scary malware message on the computer. We're going to tell you what's going on there. One of the things that we're going to talk a little bit about today, I want to make sure a lot of people buy computers through the holiday season. That's why we run the holiday special, right? So a lot of people buy computers during the holiday season, and a lot of people get ripped off. A lot of people get scammed by 3x5 note cards on a shelf, or you wait for that Black Friday sale or the Cyber Monday sale or any other sale because you're looking to get a really good deal on a computer for the holidays for maybe you or for a friend. I'm going to go over today some of the tricks of the trade. These are not things that Schrock does, and there's a reason we don't do them. The main reason is, unlike companies like Google or Dell or HP in an aggregate way, when you don't like your computer, you can come back into our shop and you can wring our scrawny little necks. So we really like you to like your computer. So we don't sell junk. We don't do Black Friday sales where you buy a piece of garbage laptop and you get it really, really cheap and you're super excited about it. And then when you go to use it, you're a lot less excited about it. If you've ever bought a Black Friday laptop, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Or it worked great for 6 months and then it pooped out on you. So, we're going to talk a little bit about what goes into the marketing of computers, the behind the scenes stuff. And it doesn't sound as boring as it is. I'm going to tell you what companies do to trick you into buying a computer that is not what you actually need. So that way, whether you buy from Schrock, which I certainly hope you would, if you enjoy the show, please know that we don't make a ton of money when we sell computers. But the thing is, when you buy a computer from a place, whether you buy it from Best Buy or the Mart or from Schrock Innovations, people tend to take their computers back where they bought them for service. And so we're a service company that happens to sell computers. So it's really important when we sell computers, we're not trying to make a quick buck off of you when we sell the computer up front. We're trying to build a long-term relationship with you that will stand the test of time. So this is one of those really rare opportunities, guys, when you can do business with a local company and you don't get charged up the wazoo because you're dealing with a local company and they have to charge you more, the prices are pretty much equal now for what you get. In fact, I could make a lot of arguments that the product at Schrock is superior than what you would see at some of the stores. Yeah, you get a little bit more selection. Like if you want a showroom, you can walk into the mart, you can look at 100 laptops if you want to. 98 of them are not right for you, right? You can go into Best Buy and you can look at a ton of laptops. Nobody really has desktops on display unless you want a gaming desktop. Those are kind of fun to look at too. So we're going to tell you, if you're going to be in the market for a computer, if you or someone in your family is, or if you're that designated person that whenever anyone makes a technology purchase in your family, you're the one they call, we're going to tell you some of the tricks so that they call and ask you for advice. You can hear the things that they're saying and you can know this isn't good, this isn't legit. Also, what you may not realize is when you do buy new computers now, Microsoft introduced this concept with Windows 10 that you can only run Windows 10 on certain processors, certain types of hardware. So for example, new computers that are receiving new installations of Windows 10 must have current generation processors, which means, this is important, you can't go out and buy a computer that is from 2 model years ago, for example, because the processor is too old and it won't run Windows 10. So basically, the forces of the market are coming together here to force you to purchase a computer that is of current design, that is maybe a little bit more expensive than something that was 2 years old that might still suit your needs well, but is 2 years old. The PC manufacturers love this because that makes them, you're buying new product, you're not buying old inventory off somebody's shelf. Small businesses hate this because it prevents us from buying large amounts of inventory at one time and selling through it over a period of time, 18 months, for example, because there's always that risk that the next new version of Windows 10 will render our hardware obsolete. We've got to be careful about that. Also, if you're building a computer or someone in your family is building a computer, this is important stuff for you to know. All right, also, we talk a lot about malware on the program, and I've often said we can do an entire show on all of the things. I could scare your pants off with the stuff that's going on in the malware world right now. You'd be so scared you're looking over your shoulder thinking you're a targeted individual and that they're coming for you and your cat. And there are people who believe that in the world. Trust me, we talk to them. But what you may not realize, and what we've been preaching for almost 6 months now, is that the new battleground, the new place where this is getting real, where people are actually invading your real privacy. It's one thing when somebody hacks into your computer. Yeah, they get access to your files. Most of the time, they just want to use your computer to make money through various means, and use your power and use your equipment to make them money, basically. Most of the time, they're not actually hacking into your computer to steal your tax returns or your super private, church minutes from the board meeting. They're not after that stuff. They just want to use your computer to make money. However, the next generation of hacking is going after your mobile devices. They're going after your iPads, your Android tablets, your Android phones, and your iPhones. And imagine the wealth of personal information that you can get from a phone that you can't get from a computer. With a phone, you can track someone in real time, even if they turn off. Even if you turn off the GPS chip, guys, you're still getting tracked. And I can tell you how, but, just trust me on this one, you're still getting tracked. Every website that you go to on your phone, Google knows that you have a computer and that you have that phone. They know that you have that phone. And that phone is tied to your computer. So things you search for on your computer will inherently influence the search results you see on your phone. So I know what you're searching for. I know what you're reading. I know what your news sources are. I know where you live. I know how much time you spend at meals. I know, in the evening, I know your bedtime. I know when you wake up. If you wear a watch, like an Apple Watch or, my Samsung watch here, I know how well you slept last night. I know how efficient your sleep was. I know how long you slept. I mean, it's ridiculous the amount. I know your heart rate right now. That's what can be stolen from your phone in real time. So, we told people, you need to get antivirus protection on your phones, guys, because this is cutting edge stuff right now. This is bleeding edge right now. We're starting to see like the state actors viruses and malware coming out right now. We're starting to see how China tracks what the Uyghurs are doing in China and figures out who needs to go to let's not call them concentration camps because, we want to be politically correct. Let's call them re-education camps because that's what the Chinese like to call them. That's how they know, guys. They're tracking these people's phones. That's how bad guys are going to track you in the future. And right now, a Vietnamese student has been behind a malware strain that infected millions of Android phone users. And you probably didn't hear a darn thing about it in the news. Hanoi student never hid his identity, wasn't even trying to hide himself, but he deployed malicious advertising software called adware in 42 different apps that people installed on their phones from the Play Store. This is why on your Android phone suddenly one day advertisements start popping up on the screen, like a pop-up, like you used to get on your computer in like 2006. George W. Bush was president, and pop-ups were the big scary thing in the world. You know, now Donald Trump is president, and your phone's getting hacked. Okay, this is what's happening in real time right now. Yet I will say this on the radio, that you all need to have antivirus software in your phone, and maybe 1 in 20 of you will actually do that. Whether you buy from us or somebody else, 1 in 20 of you will actually protect your phone. That's bad. That's real bad, guys. All right, I think I might have an audio problem here, guys, so sit with me on this. I got to listen to a little bit of what we're doing here, because I'm getting some weird lag in my audio stream. Okay, no, it sounds good. The computer was lagging, so it was like I can see the waveform of my audio as I'm talking, and then it would stop. And it would, you know, like when you're typing and it just stops putting the cursor on the screen, the text stops, and then all of a sudden it's like, it catches up with you. That's what it was doing. And I didn't want to do a whole hour of audio only to come back and realize that it was chopping or something, and I'm going to have to re-record the whole show. That's never fun.
That's bad. That's real bad, guys.
All right, that's real bad, guys. Well, let's take it from that's real bad, guys. This is the wonders of recording in a studio. So the long and the short of it is you must protect yourself. And if you don't protect yourself, eventually you're going to get hit. It is inevitable. It will happen to you, and you will cry in your Cheerios when it happens to you, and you feel like a victim. And you're going to ask, how could I have protected myself from this? And just like 18 years ago when we started this program on the radio, we've gone on for 18 years telling people how to make their computers work better for them, how to decode this technology world that changes so fast. It's so hard to keep up with. 18 years ago, I had to make this exact same argument about antivirus on your computer. Today, everybody knows you need antivirus on your computer. Everybody knows that. It's a given. That's a cost of ownership. It's like changing the oil in your car unless you have a Tesla. So that's how it's going to be 18 years from now on a phone, guys. To the point where if you take a computer without antivirus onto the internet, the odds of you getting infected in the first half an hour you're on the internet are 50-50. Go to Google, do a search, click the wrong link. There's no indication it's the wrong link. I wouldn't know it's the wrong link. I would click on it. That's why I have semantic endpoint that pops up and catches that stuff for me. That's why we protect over 4,000 people in the Nebraska, Iowa metro areas, because they care about their security and they want to be protected. So, last thing, one of the things we talk about in new computers a lot is how unrepairable a lot of these computers are. We talk a lot about HPs, the new HPs that are out, that are all chip on board. There's nothing you can change. It's all broken. You know, tablets for the most part, that's the same deal now. Phones are getting that way too. In fact, there's this whole movement called right to repair. And the designers of devices, especially mobile devices and tablets like the Surface, are notorious for using glue, tape, one-time use clips. So like the clip, you push the screen down and it clips into place. And if you want to take the screen out again, you have to break the clips to get it out, which breaks the screen. You have to buy a whole new screen. At that point, the cost of repairing it doesn't really matter, so you're just going to buy a new one. So there's a whole movement called right to repair. Microsoft is actually listening, guys. So the new Surface tablet that's coming out, we're going to talk about what they're doing and how this might change some things so that maybe, just maybe, I own a computer repair shop, guys, a few of them if you didn't know, and it would be great if we could repair more things for people and not force them to buy new computers when they come in for something that is stupid simple. Stupid simple. All right, 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. One of the concepts that I want to introduce you today, longtime listeners, please forgive me, you've heard this before, but at Schrock, we sell two different kinds of computers primarily. We can get anything. If you want an all-in-one, we can get you an all-in-one, and we, of course, will modify your all-in-one so it meets our specifications. But when you walk in the door in a Schrock Service Center and you see the 3 desktops and the 3 laptops, that's not an accident. There are 3 models of each. So we're not overwhelming you with choices. We're giving you 3 basic starting points because everything we build is custom, whether it's a laptop or a desktop. You know, hey, it's a 15-inch screen. Do you want a 10 key pad? They don't come with 10 key pads right now, some of them. If you want a 10 key pad, we can get that model for you. The cost difference is just a little bit different. We can get a 10 key pad. Hey, do you want a 4K monitor instead of the full HD monitor? We can get that for you. Hey, do you want a backlit keyboard instead of a regular keyboard? We can get that for you. So we can build you anything that you need at Schrock. But we have starting points. We have to have a place to start the conversation, right? So on the desktop side, desktop computers are ideal for people who base out in the same place with their computer every time. Sometimes people buy laptops from us, and then they take them and they put them in a desk. Now, admittedly, if you have a roll-top desk, that's probably why you're using a laptop, because those desktops don't fit in roll-top desks anymore. But people who buy laptops and set them on the table and never move them, leave them plugged in all the time, they never take them anywhere, they never go into the living room, they don't take advantage of that portability that a laptop offers, those people should be using desktops. Desktops are much more affordable in the long run to own and repair and maintenance. Laptops have a shorter lifespan, and laptops are more finicky. You know, they have more problems than desktops do because desktops are bigger. They've got bigger parts, bigger bearings. There's a lot less that can go wrong. And when it does go wrong, it's usually not catastrophic like it is with a laptop. So let's start with desktops. Desktops at Schrock Innovations are called modular desktop computers. The word modular is very specifically chosen because like I said, this is a starting point. It's a Goldilocks. We have our entry-level modular computer, the Boundless. We have our mid-level modular computer, the most popular one, the Endeavor. And then we have the Venture, which the Venture is more of our high-end computer when you're doing higher-end things, video production, photo editing, AutoCAD, things like that, or you're sending a kid off to school to do these things. That's the computer that you usually choose for that. So each one of these computers has a base starting point. That starting point is determined based on, we ask you, what are you going to do with the computer? And, we take that point. If you say, oh, I'm not going to do much, I'm going to check internet, I'm going to do bill pay, I might get on Facebook once in a while, I don't play games, I don't, read the news on it or anything. You just need a basic computer. You don't need anything super fancy, so we put you in the Boundless. If you say, I'm going to use it for some home management, I'll do it for, do my grocery list, maybe some budgeting, use it for business a little bit. Maybe I have a home business or I have like a stay-at-home business kind of thing. I'm going to use it for that. So maybe some light photo stuff on Facebook, things like that. You need a slightly more powerful computer to do that. That's the Endeavor. That's the most popular computer we sell. Then, like I said, the Venture is for people who are going to go way beyond and do a lot of crazy things. So now you know what each computer, where you start at. But now what I'm going to do in the next segment is I'm going to break down for you exactly why we choose the parts we put into each computer. Trust me, it will not be boring. I promise you that. We're not going to talk about how many pins are in the processor and is it an A series processor or a Ryzen chip. We're not going to get into that stuff. We're going to get into the high level stuff. When you look at the 3x5 card at the Mart or at Best Buy, they give you 3 specs: hard drive, memory, processor. That's what they give you. Maybe they tell you a little bit about something here or there. That's the majority of it. We're going to tell you exactly what's important about those 3 specs and how. I hate doing this because it's like you see those ads on the internet. The one simple trick that the credit card companies don't want you to know. Okay, this isn't like a state secret, guys. There's not one simple trick, but these are things that are purposefully done by computer manufacturers to corral you into choosing a particular model of computer, to make you believe that their computer is better than the computer next to it, because they want the sale, right? So, I don't want to assign nefarious purposes to these decisions, but it's important that you understand the motivation so that you can make the right choice for you. Sometimes the $300 computer at Walmart might be the right choice for you. If that's the right choice for you, we don't have a computer at Schrock that does that for you. You should be a Walmart customer at that point. And it's not a money thing. It's a features and a specs thing. We're going to tell you all about that and how you can protect yourself from getting taken advantage of when you buy your next computer, coming up next on Compute This. End of segment. That's one segment down, guys. We are 17 minutes, 41 seconds into the show right now. We're going to take a 2-minute commercial break where they'll be playing our commercials, which puts us at 1941. We take our second break at the bottom of the hour, which is at 30. So the 1940, let's just call it 20 minutes. I've got 10 minutes, 19 seconds to go for this next segment. All right. Isn't this exciting? All right, here we go. Oh, by the way, this is not a live Facebook broadcast. This is I recorded the video of the show so you could see it. So you can comment everything. That's why I'm not answering you. I'm not here. I'm in a tent. Remember? All right, here we go. Oh, I'm using the wrong mouse again. If only I was intelligent enough to use the correct mouse, right? All right. And I just had a paranoia moment where I don't want to accidentally delete everything I just did. There we go. We're going to go end. Perfect. All right, here we go. Welcome back into Compute This, guys. My name is still Thor Schrock, and I'm still, as of now, the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. We have 3 locations where you can come in and take a look at our computers if you want to. I literally had a customer the other day who got mad at me in the Papillion Service Center. Her computer needed repair work, and she said, $300 to repair that old computer, I think I'd just rather go buy a new one. So she went to Best Buy and bought a new computer because she says, I didn't know you guys sold computers. And she was really upset. She really wanted one of our computers. So, of course, we did the only thing a gentleman would do is we helped her return the computer to Best Buy and buy one of our modular computers, right? So at Schrock Innovations, at all 3 of our locations, we sell computers. We customize each computer for you. You may not need a lot of customization, but it's there. You want a little more memory? You want a little less memory? We can do that. You want a DVD drive? You don't want a DVD drive? We can do that. You want a Wi-Fi card? You don't want a Wi-Fi card. You want a card reader? You don't want a card reader. You want a Bluetooth chipset in your desktop? We can do all these things for you. You don't know what any of that stuff is? You tell us what you're going to use the computer for, and we will pick out a model that will meet your needs not only today, but going forward into the future. Part of buying a modular desktop computer is that this computer is not just meant for your needs right now. Your needs over time will change. This morning, got a haircut, right? Oh, I guess it wasn't this morning. It was a couple days ago. Got a haircut. And as you can see on the cameras, I'm pointing at my hair. I'm talking to the stylist who's cutting my hair. And I use the word style. It was sport clip, okay? It's a stylist. I'm not getting the Bill Clinton razor cut or anything, So I'm talking to her, and she's asking me about the business. And it's normal things that stylists use to fill the time, so you're not just sitting there awkwardly while they cut your hair. And she's asking me, the computers that you sell, what do you guys do at Schrock? And I say, well, we sell computers. And she's like, I think I'm going to need a new computer soon. And okay, what are you going to use it for? Oh, I have kids, and we take a lot of pictures of the kids. We post them on Facebook. I don't really do any. I just have fun on it. I might play solitaire. All right, the Boundless is the perfect computer for what you're doing with life right now. And here's the thing: the Boundless computer can do more than that for you. And she goes, well, I don't know that I want to spend money on features and specifications that I don't need, right? I want to be frugal with my money because Thor, I know you're a good tipper, but you're not that good of a tipper, okay? So I want to be frugal with my purchase. Totally understandable. That's a normal thing for every single person that buys a computer. Says that computer's nice, but I don't need all of that. So I'm going to buy this one over here that's $50 or $100 less. And that's a perfectly normal, logical, reasonable thing to do. Let's take a walk back in time. Let's keep the time frame small. Let's not do a 10-year one because that's too dramatic. Most people don't expect to keep their computer for 10 years, unless it's a holiday special computer. The average time, by the way, that computers last, therefore people keep them because they work. People don't just get rid of them because I think I want a new one today. They get rid of them because they break or they stop working. 18 months. Average lifespan. Some computers will last longer than 18 months, and some will die in the first year you have them, and you'll have to get a warranty replacement. You've been down that road at some point in your life with your computer, I'm sure. So that's 18 months is the average. So a 5-year time horizon, according to major manufacturers, if you're buying a new computer, let's just say every 2 years, right? That's 2.5 computers of time for you. So 2.5 computers ago, this is what you were doing with your computer. Right now it's 2019. The year was 2014. 2014. Barack Obama is president of the United States. Right now, people are starting to get introduced to the concept of cord cutting. Amazon Prime is still a shipping service for the most part. They have this fledgling little video thing, but they don't have any original content really. There's The Man in High Castle, I think, but that's pretty much it. Netflix is now an established streamer. They are the streamer, and all the whippersnappers, all these millennial kids seem to be watching Netflix all the time, and if it's not on Netflix, they don't ever know about it. Cable prices are cheaper than they are now because they always go up over time. And people are just now getting into the idea that maybe I should be using my computer for more than just computing. Maybe I should use it for media. Maybe I should be using it to do cloud computing. Maybe the concept of saving files somewhere other than your hard drive is still new. Dropbox is still a relatively new thing in 2014. Keep in mind that Barack Obama, when he was elected, leveraged Facebook epically to get elected. Right? That's how he got his message, a big part of his campaign. Mark Zuckerberg was part of his campaign staff, I swear. So there was no fake news. There were no community standards then. There was no, we're going to spike conservative traffic or we're going to, push through more liberal traffic. None of that was actually on the surface then. So everything was bright and shiny and wonderful. And your computer was trucking along doing its merry thing. 5 years later, 6 different versions of Windows 10 have gone by. Now, you don't even know. Like when I posted an article on Facebook that the FBI released a warning about ransomware. And I thought, my customers need to know this. They need to know they need to have cold storage backups. And so I shared the article. It was from thehill.com, which is, of course, a political publication. I shared it on my Facebook page, and a lot of times what I do on the company page is I'll throw a $5 boost or something cheap behind an important post like that, just to make sure that it gets into people's feeds. Not because, it's selling a product or anything, but just to make sure you see it, right? Because sometimes you don't see stuff. Even when you follow a place, you don't see the stuff. So I put a $5 boost behind it. And Facebook rejected my boost because I had not passed verification to post politically related content. That wasn't happening in 2014. That's new, right? So all these things have changed. The whole world has changed. How many of you were paying bills online in 2014 but pay bills online now? So the things that you're doing with your computer, the security challenges, all of that has changed since 2014. Why would you, if you would have bought a computer in 2014 that just met your needs, that only did what you needed it to do in 2014, how in the world can you expect it to still be a good computer 5 years later? Your needs have changed. The world around you has changed. So if you want a computer that's going to last, now if you're going to go out and buy the HP off the shelf at Best Buy, this is a moot point because it's only going to last you 18 months. So whatever, right? You just buy a new one. And some people say that, they're so cheap now, I'll just buy a new one. You're not considering certain costs. For example, when you buy a new computer, some programs need to be reinstalled that you had on your old computer. They may not be compatible with the newest version of Windows. You may not be able to install your brother's keeper's genealogy software. That's a real program, guys, that really can't be installed on the new version of Windows 10, but worked on the previous version. Your version of Quicken or QuickBooks, guess what? Not compatible anymore, can't reinstall it. Your copy of Office 2007, although it works perfectly in Windows 10, the activation servers have been disconnected for it. So therefore, when you install it, it works for 30 days, and then when you try to activate it, it says there's no activation services available. So you click on telephone activation, and it says, sorry, the phone number has been disconnected. Microsoft doesn't want to activate that for you anymore. That program was 2007. I mean, heck, it's 12 years old, right? It's done. So you got to buy a new one. You didn't consider any of those costs in your decision to replace your computer with the next cheap one in line. And of course, transferring your data, transferring your important files over. You can do it yourself or you can have a company do it, but there's a cost of time or money involved in doing that. Nobody considers those costs. They just walk into the store and say, it's going to cost me $300 to fix my computer or $500 to buy this new piece of garbage. I'll buy the new piece of garbage. It'll last me 18 months and I'll buy a new one. Ha, there we go. Some people, that works for them. For more technical people, that works for them. I don't like to buy new computers. I don't like to go through that setup phase where I'm getting everything logged in and set up and my passwords aren't saved anymore and all that garbage. Oh my gosh, you can't transfer saved passwords, right? You buy a new computer, you don't know the password for anything. They're all saved in your browser. and you're like doing password resets on all your credit card accounts and your bank accounts and stuff. This happens, guys. So buying a computer that lasts a long time has a lot of benefits. Now the problem is you can't get it. You can't go to the store and walk up to the $9.75 an hour guy at the store and say, Mr. Big Store employee, which of these computers will last me 5 years? I use my phone and stuff, dude. Nothing. Every computer at Shrug, 4 to 6 years is the expected lifespan. Many of them go longer than that, especially with proper maintenance. 4 to 6 years for a modular desktop computer. Here's what you want to look out for. When you're at the store and shopping for a computer, look at the hard drive. Any hard drive that's larger than 1 terabyte is a slower hard drive. The speed of your hard drive is more important than the capacity of your hard drive. The hard drive is the filing cabinet that saves your files. If it gets full, you have to get a bigger one, right? So you want to make sure you got plenty of room. But if you're looking at 2 computers and they're the same price, and one comes with a terabyte hard drive and one comes with a 2 terabyte hard drive, the 2 terabyte hard drive is slower. That means the computer as a whole will be slower than the computer that has a 1 terabyte drive. So if they're the same price, you actually get a better deal, a better computer with the one that has less storage at the same price. But most people will pick the other one because it has more. 2 is bigger than 1, right? The speed of the memory in your computer. Your computer has, each computer has 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gigs of RAM. That's great. What's the speed? There are different speed ratings for memory. And the prices between those speed ratings can be significant. So if I'm building a computer and I want to sell it to you on a budget, when you get that Dell catalog in the mail and there's that $400 computer on the cover that always seems to end up costing you like $1,000 by the time you're done configuring it, that $400 computer has a junky slow hard drive and stupid slow memory. But then they'll put a nice processor. It comes with an i5 or an i7 processor. And you're thinking, wow, it's got a hard drive, it's got this, it's got a good processor. It's going to be a fast computer. Then you get it, and it's pretty fast when you first get it. But by the time you load it down with all the stuff you do with it, you realize it's a piece of junk, and you're not happy with it. And we don't want you at Schrock to take a computer home and find out you're not happy with it. So what we do on our modular computers is we overbuild them for what you're going to do. That way they last you longer. You get a better value. You don't go through all the heartache and headache. The only downer about having a computer for 4 to 6 years is you got to do some maintenance on it, right? You got to go in for the maintenance checkups and do stuff like that. We're going to tell you how to secure it. You don't have to buy it from us, but we're going to tell you how. We'll show you how to do it. We'll make it easy for you to do it. If you choose to do it, great. If you don't, that's great too. We're here to give you options. And it's your choice as a consumer that we respect. You can choose to use us for certain things or not. And if you choose not to, well, there's a consequence for that. I mean, if you choose to have secure IT from the mark for your antivirus. I had a guy yesterday that told me, I paid for a lifetime subscription of PCmatic. And I'm like, you got scammed. What are you talking about? I paid $150 for that. And I'm showing you this. This is your maintenance checkup results. We removed 400 pieces of malware from your computer. We fixed 2,000 problems in your registry. And what was the hard drive? 1.6 gigabytes of garbage we cleaned off the hard drive. I'm sorry, but does it look like PCmatic is even maintaining your computer right now, let alone keeping you safe? And he agreed. He's like, yeah, that's pretty bad. But then he chose to keep PCmatic. You can't save everybody, right? But we can sure give you the choice whether or not you want to go down with the sinking ship. And if we lay it out like that for you and you choose to go down with the ship, he may have had other reasons for doing that. Maybe he didn't have the money to buy the antivirus this month. Maybe he's on a fixed income. Maybe he has legit reasons for those decisions that fall outside the purview of what is a good long-term decision. So we're going to give you the best long-term decisions that you can make that are going to save you the most money. Then you can pick which option best suits you. And we don't give you grief. I didn't make fun of that guy. I mean, except for like right now, I guess. I'm not really making fun of him, right? But I didn't like laugh at him or tell him he was dumb. I said, okay, that's fine. If you want to use PCmatic, we'll make sure we leave it installed because normally we just remove it because it's that bad. But if you want to keep it, we will leave it installed on your computer, and that's the antivirus solution this customer has chosen. At some point in the future, he'll get infected and he'll come back in, and when he comes back in, we'll say, now you have an infection. We have to remove it. It costs money. And usually what we end up doing then is we say, listen, 6 months ago we told you to get Endpoint. You didn't do it. Let me remove the virus for free for you, and then put Endpoint on your computer. Because if you pay me to remove the virus and you don't protect yourself, why are you paying me to remove the antivirus? 402-558-1110, or to remove the virus, that's what I meant to say. 402-558-1110, 800-543-1110. Got to take our bottom of the hour break. I'm a little bit long. Sorry about that, guys. When we come back, we're going to hit the laptop side of things. What should you look for in a laptop? How can you pick the best laptop for what you're going to do with it? Should you get the super skinny one? Should you get the fat one? Should you get the really powerful gaming one? Should you get a laptop at all? We're going to tell you what to look for. Also, coming up, if you have a Mac, we haven't talked about Macs a lot yet today. But if you do have a Mac, there's something you need to be aware of. If you upgrade your Mac to Catalina, which is a great OS, any computer that can run Mojave can run Catalina. So if you upgrade to Catalina and you're using LibreOffice, you might see some scary windows. It's okay. We're going to tell you what's going on there. Also, like I said, Microsoft has changed the CPU requirements of what processors can run Windows now. So some of these older computers on the shelf at the store, you don't want to buy them because you could be buying something that's completely obsolete. And that's usually the cheapest ones. So we're going to tell you about that. And also the Vietnamese kid that wanted to infect your phone and did. All that and more coming up next on Compute This. Alrighty, guys. We are now at 33 minutes and 11 seconds. So that was like 5 minutes long. Oopsie. So next segment. So I need a total of roughly 2 minutes at the top, 2 minutes at the bottom. 2-minute break at 10, so that's 6. 2-minute break at 40, that's 8. So that's 8 minutes off the top. I need 52 minutes of total audio. So if I take my next break at like 45 minutes, that should be good. All right. So math. All righty, here we go. All righty, folks. Oh, shoot, I just realized. So Scott edits this audio for me, Scott Voorhees at KFAB. And when he edits the audio for me, he likes me to leave him a little bit of a buffer at the end of the show, or at the end, so that he knows that I took a break, that there's a break in the waveform there. If you don't do audio, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, give me a second here. Alrighty, folks, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. We're spent a lot of time on the show today talking about computers and buying computers. The main reason I'm doing that today, guys, is the holiday season is nearly upon us here. Right now, the holiday special tester computers, the people who are early adopters, their computers are being built right now to go out to them. The people who are going to be looking at the holiday special, the catalogs are at the press right now. They're getting printed up. We're about to go big time for fourth quarter here with the computer sales, right? So we're not the only ones. Most computers are sold in the fourth quarter during the holiday season, industry-wide. So if you're in the market for a computer or someone in your family is, it's important for you to know what to look for, even if you're not buying from Schrock. Again, I would really appreciate it if you bought for your new computer from Schrock Innovations. We custom build every computer, even the laptops. While we don't build the laptop itself, we don't have little elves back there, affixing keys to the keyboard and stuff. But when we get the laptops in, we order a base model laptop. We like Asus laptops; they're really good. So we get a base model Asus laptop, and inside the Asus laptop, Asus makes all the hardware that goes into like Dells and HPs, but they have to make it to Dell and HP specs. When Asus makes their laptops, they make it to their own spec. So they include a lot of ports and features and things you don't get in the Dell and the HP. They also use slightly higher quality components that last longer. Therefore, the price of the computer, if you looked at HP pricing versus Asus pricing, even just on websites on the internet, you'll notice the Asuses tend to cost a little bit more. It's because of the quality of the parts that's used inside the computer. But with that said, most Asus computers receive bad reviews online. The computer's slow, it's not good. Most Asus computers sold through Schrock Innovations get 5-star reviews because they're wicked fast. Why is it different? Well, it's different because when you get your Asus computer from Schrock, you ain't getting an Asus computer from Asus. you're getting an Asus computer from Schrock. And that's why we make it into a solid state laptop. The solid state laptop is a laptop made by Asus that we transform. I mentioned memory has a speed earlier in the program. Memory has a speed, and Asus is like most manufacturers, they shoot middle of the road, or on their cheaper models they'll put really cheap memory, low-end memory in them. We remove that slower memory and we replace it with faster memory. We remove the mechanical hard drive that the computer comes with, because the computers are a work of art. They are beautiful machines. They have excellent processors. They have middle-ish memory, but then that hard drive, that mechanical hard drive, just makes everything slow, because there's a triad of components: the hard drive, the processor, and the memory. If any one of those in the triad is slow, the whole triangle is slow, right? So we need to make sure we get that fast memory in there, because it already has a fast processor that's baked onto the board. So we got to get the fast memory in there, and then we got to put a solid state in there, which is why we call them solid state laptops. Solid state hard drives have no moving parts whatsoever. You could bang them on the desk surface, you could bang, 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 and put them in the computer again, and they work just fine. It's like a flash drive. It's like a giant, fast flash drive, except more stable. So when we put those in the computers, we take an Asus computer before the solid-state hard drive, boot time 30 seconds, 25 seconds for a brand new one maybe that doesn't have anything that's loading really. With a solid-state hard drive, that knocks it down to between 4 and 6 seconds for a total boot. And I guess, everyone's like, that's great, Thor, it's fast when it boots up. I don't really care. I turn it on, and if it takes 30 seconds, I can find something to occupy myself for 30 seconds, sir. Totally get it. But when you're switching between programs and it hesitates like that, like yours does at home right now, of course, those of you who have modular computers or solid-state laptops, I'm not talking to you, because you already have solid-state hard drives. But for those of you who don't have one of our computers, when you switch between tasks and your computer hesitates, that's because the hard drive is usually because the hard drive is slow. When you're typing and then suddenly the computer fills in the blanks behind you, that's usually because the hard drive is slow. Most older computers, if you upgrade their hard drive to a solid-state hard drive, you breathe new life into them. They're faster than they are the day you bought them. That's why when computers come into our shop for maintenance checkups and they still have mechanical hard drives, the guys at least mention to the customer, this computer's like 4 years old. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking about a new one. I don't know. I don't want to spend the money really, but hey, do you know that for $150 we can put a solid-state hard drive in this thing, and it'll be faster than it was the day you bought it? And it'll buy you another year or two in the computer before you have to make that upgrade decision. For real? Yeah, for real. That's amazing. Let's do it. And we do. And customers are thrilled. They get the computers home and they're just like, they cannot believe how fast they are. It's amazing. And it's not just the speed of a boot up or a shutdown, but when you get those annoying every 6-month updates. So we're going to talk about Safe Upgrade here in a second. When you get those updates for your computer, and they take 45 minutes to install, because it's a whole new version of Windows. On a solid-state hard drive, it takes about 8 minutes, and it's done. It's like an old-school Windows update, but it's just that fast. So solid-state laptops, that's how Schrock builds an advantage over the laptops you're going to see at Best Buy. Yes, you can go to Best Buy, and you can get a laptop there that comes with a solid-state hard drive. Hey, if you're bored this weekend, go to the Mart, go to Best Buy, walk the line, and find the cheapest computer you can find that comes with a solid-state hard drive in it. I guarantee you that computer is going to cost $800 or more, usually on the more side. Usually you can get a piece of junk with a solid-state hard drive there for about $800. To get a nice computer with a solid-state hard drive, you're going to spend $1,200, $1,300 at Best Buy. I know these specific numbers because I was at both places. I know what the competitors are doing. I know what we're doing. I know our computers are superior. So when you're looking for a laptop, you've got to make sure you get a solid-state hard drive. You're going to be left in the dust if you don't have a solid-state hard drive. It is the one requirement that I will sacrifice everything else in a computer to get. I will sacrifice the processor. I will sacrifice the amount of memory. I will sacrifice features on the keyboard or this resolution on the screen, maybe even the size of the monitor. I will give all that up to get a solid-state hard drive, because I know if it has a solid-state hard drive, that processor, whatever the processor is plenty fast for what most people are doing with their computer. Plenty fast. The memory could be faster, and at Schrock it is faster, but memory is usually plenty fast. Usually it's the quantity of memory that people see. If you're using your computer to pay bills at home, you don't need 16 gigs of RAM today. Maybe in the future, but not today. That hard drive, you've got to have a solid state hard drive, guys. And that immediately at a box store puts you in an $800 computer from the beginning. Why not come get a computer that has a better processor, a bigger solid state hard drive, and faster memory from Schrock for $700? When did we become the low cost leader? We're the high service provider. We're supposed to charge more. That's how they taught me in business school. You can't be a low cost leader and deliver high service because you'll go broke. Number two, when you're a low cost leader and you're not getting business, you can't discount because you're already a low cost leader. That's why Walmart doesn't run sales. They have price rollbacks, which you could argue is a sale, but they don't have like Hy-Vee style sales on their groceries. Buy one head lettuce, get one head of lettuce free. They don't do things like that. They don't have Mega Meat Monday at Walmart because they have their everyday low prices, right? And they're always, sometimes they're lower, sometimes they're not. So when you're looking for a laptop, the first question you ask yourself is, does it have a solid state hard drive? If it does, okay, it's in consideration. If it doesn't, eliminate it. Don't even think about it. Even if that computer will be fine for you for a year, you're going to eventually get to the point with that computer where all of the different things that are going on in there are going to slow it down to the point where it's unusable. You're going to be unhappy with it. You're going to bring it into Schrock for a maintenance checkup because it's slower than it used to be. And we're going to clean it up, which will speed it up a little bit. And then we're going to tell you it's slower than it used to be because every single software update that every company makes now assumes that you have a solid state hard drive. Assumes that. If you don't have that drive, every single update you get, every single time something updates, whether it's Windows or Adobe or Flash or Java, whenever you get an update for your computer, it's going to slow it down just a hair more. And after 6 months of getting updates for all these things, all those hairs, they stack up and they measure up. You know, hairs aren't very thick, but when I got a haircut, there was a lot of hair on the floor, right? It adds up in quantity. So your computer's going to slow down over time. You're going to bring it in for a checkup. We're going to speed it up a little bit. And then we're going to tell you we should put a solid state hard drive in it. You'll probably resist us for the first 6 months and say, oh, I don't know if I need that. Next year, you come back for your next maintenance checkup 6 months later. And you say, man, this thing is still pretty slow. I brought it in for a checkup last time and it helped for a little while, but now it's worse than ever. And we're going to tell you, well, we recommended a solid state hard drive last time. Do you want us to do that? Yeah, maybe it's time because I really don't want to buy a new laptop. And then you'll get it home and you'll say, what in the world? Why did I wait to do this? This is amazing. Not only that, your battery will last longer. You know, it takes energy to spin a motor and to move heads around on a hard drive. Solid state drives have no moving parts. They use less power. Your battery lasts longer. So a solid state, gotta have it. After that, we can start getting into memory. Memory, nothing under, I wouldn't recommend anything under 8 gigs of RAM. We do have a computer at Schrock that comes with 4 gigabytes of RAM because we have to have that lower end entry option that competes against the lower end entry options at Best Buy and the Mart, places like that. We got to have it. So some people buy it, and because some people, that's right for them. And for some people, it is the right decision. For most people, it's not. You want at least 8 gigabytes of memory. 16 would be good. The 32 is way overkill. 16 is probably overkill for most people, but 8 is the sweet spot. Everybody assumes you have at least 8 gigs of memory right now. Okay. On the processor side, processor is actually, a lot of people think it's the most important thing. It's actually one of the least important factors because what you're doing with the computer will determine what processor you need. If you're just using it for basic home stuff, any of the processors will do it. You don't have to do anything different with those processors at that point. They'll all work just fine for you. On the other hand, if you are going and doing, really big, intense stuff, yeah, you're going to want an i7 or an i5 or something more powerful like that. Again, we'll ask you what you're using the computer for, and we'll let you know at that point. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the show, guys. When we come back, we're going to get into some of the news. I think I've told you enough about computers today, and I think I've explained, hopefully I've explained pretty well, the difference between the Schrock modular desktop and the desktop you can go get at Best Buy, and the Schrock solid state laptop and the laptop you can go get at the Mart. So you can go there now and you can look at these 3x5 cards and you can look at the specifications and you'll know, that doesn't have a solid state. And if you knock off that requirement, you just eliminated 3/4 of the laptops in the Mart. That's how few come with solid states right now. Then you're going to look at the prices and you're going to say, wow, that solid state hard drive really kind of sets the bar for everything. And now The computer's $800, $900, $1,200. I don't want to spend that much. Guess what? Because we modify the laptops beyond what you can get in the open marketplace, you can get an amazing customized solid state laptop at Schrock for less money. That's not supposed to happen, but somehow we made it happen. All right, going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into the news here a little bit. Windows 10, new processor support. Apple, you're getting a nasty notice. We're going to let you know what's going on there. The student that tried to infect your phone, we're going to tell you what the deal is with him and how he got caught. And also, repairability. The new Surface laptop, the Surface Laptop 3 teardown from iFixit. They gave them a new score. Now, granted, the previous score was a 0. So if they got a new score, 0 meaning not repairable at all. If they got a new score, it's going to be better, right? So we're going to tell you, is Microsoft listening? Are they starting to make things more repairable? And is this going to be a trend in the industry so that we can actually take the technology that we buy and make it last longer by repairing it or maintaining it or fixing it? That's the way everything used to be in America. You could fix anything. Now, not so much. So we're going to tell you all that and more coming up next on Compute This. All right. Somebody tried to walk in on me back there. I couldn't look over my shoulder. I didn't want to mess around with it, but yeah, somebody tried to walk in on us there. I hope the audio didn't pick up the carpet scrape. So we'll see here. Let's see, end. I'm clicking the wrong thing again. Gosh, too many mice. End. Alrighty, folks, welcome back in. Final segment of the program today. Thanks for sticking with us through the show today. You know, sometimes I do these shows every week, and things that, to me, I feel like I've beaten to death on the show, and no one could possibly be interested in that anymore. Things that I hear like that, other people look at them and say, wow, that was really informative. I didn't know any of that stuff. And, you know, we do pick up new listeners every week. So for those of you who are long-time 18-year listeners to the show, forgive me if I was repetitive in any of that, but things do change, and sometimes things actually get better. So one of the stories we have in the news today is the Surface the Surface Laptop 3 teardown. What is a teardown? All right, so when we get laptops and stuff into the store, every laptop is disassembled differently. And you know, after you've taken a bunch of laptops apart, you kind of get a feel for how they're going to come apart, just based on where the screws are at and everything. But if you're a brand new technician that's new to the industry, the last thing I want you to do is to take 4 screws out and then rip the lid off the laptop and destroy all the parts inside. So when it's something you've never taken apart before, we always we require our technicians to watch a teardown video before they actually take it apart. So the teardown video is a video of somebody else taking this laptop apart. So then they'll warn you about things like, watch out when you're sliding your little separation tool, don't slide it right here because there's a little audio cable under there and you'll slice right through that thing and then you got to replace it. So be careful there, don't slide across that spot. No way you would know that if you didn't watch the video. So iFixit is the company that does these teardown videos. They fix all kinds of stuff. Computers, tablets, washing machines, dryers, all kinds of things. So every time there's a new thing that comes out, they get one and then they measure its repairability. Microsoft's Surface Laptop 2 got a 0. One-time use clips that were broken if you took them out. Glue, tape, things like that just can't be replaced. Not a lot of play in the cable. So like I said, if you separated the screen and you pulled it a little too far, like, you know, a centimeter instead of a half a centimeter, you ripped the cable and now and the cable was not removable. You just ruined the screen. You have to replace the whole screen assembly now. That's not repairable at all. There's nothing repairable about that. And then if you get inside, there's nothing to actually take out because everything is soldered down inside of it, right? This is how all MacBooks are now, guys. That $5,000 MacBook Pro that you go buy, everything is soldered down inside that pup. You can't replace or repair anything. If you're going to get a new MacBook, you absolutely must buy AppleCare. Okay? Take it from me. We have customers that come in that want us to fix stuff. Apple motherboards are like $400 or $600 a board. They're stupid expensive. Get the AppleCare. Now, of course, Apple will only sell you AppleCare for your product until it's 2 years old, and then after that, you're out of luck. And most people who spend $3,000 to $5,000 on a computer expect it to last more than 2 years, right? So, with that said, make sure you buy AppleCare. But the Surface 3 laptop, iFixit actually raised its score from a 0 to a 5 out of 10. So it's 50% repairable. The reason it got better scores is the screen is now mounted with magnets. Yes, there's some tape to make sure the screen stays down. We can replace double-sided sticky tape. That's not a problem. It's when the whole dang thing is glued together and you have to like scrape glue off stuff and things. It's a really pain in the butt. But we can do tape. That's easy. So it's got some double-sided sticky tape, but then the screen itself is primarily retained with magnets. So you basically heat it up to loosen the tape. You put your little suction cup tools on it, and then it just comes right off. Removable, right? They increase the length of the cable that connects the monitor to the main board so that when you take it apart, you can actually flip it open like a book and work on the darn thing without ripping it in half. That's amazing. The hard drive, this is a huge departure from what everybody's doing. The hard drive inside the Surface 3 is removable. You can take it out and replace it or upgrade it. You can't do that on a MacBook. You get what you get. It's baked into the board. If you wanted more memory, you should have bought it when you were a bigger hard drive. You should have bought the one that came with the bigger hard drive. So yeah, it's amazing. So if you're looking at one of the Surface models, or like specifically the Surface, we don't sell Surface units at Schrock, but if you're looking at one of those, the Surface 3 is way, way more repairable than the Surface 2. So if you're looking at making a decision between those two, they're obviously marking down the Surface 2 units to make room for the Surface 3 units that are coming out for the holiday season. Hang tight and wait for the Surface 3 laptop. It's going to be a better laptop than the Surface 2 laptop if your heart is set on a Surface. I can make the argument that you get a much better laptop from other providers than you get from Microsoft through the Surface, but the Surface kind of has a following of its own. If you're a Surface person, you're a Surface person, and you like it. If you're not, there's no need to go break that dam because you're getting less technology for a higher price. So, so it's not a great move for people who aren't, hell bent on getting one. With that said, it's not a bad unit. All right. Also, Vietnamese student behind Android malware strain that infects millions. Hanoi student never hid his identity but deployed malware in 42 apps that were all downloaded through the Google Play Store. All right. ESET, the security company, said that not all apps contained the aggressive adware in their initial versions, and that at one point the developer decided to turn from a legitimate app development business into an adware operation. He didn't decide to. This is how it works, guys. You make an app that everybody loves. They download it on their phones. Everybody's got this app. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're aging their faces, or they're playing Pokemon Go, or whatever. And then somewhere along the line, somebody puts out an update for the app that changes what it's doing. And after the app has built a reservoir of trust, suddenly it becomes a delivery vehicle for malware. Now those apps, the Pokemon app and the face aging app, they don't do that. I just use those as examples of recently popular apps that gained widespread notoriety. So you see, when you see something like that on Facebook, that look at this app, check this out. Use caution. Remember that when you install that app, when you do whatever's fun with it, make sure you uninstall it afterward because you don't want it hanging around. All right, now Windows has released new processor specs for what they will support with Windows 10. So if you want to buy a new computer with Windows 10, you now must have a computer that has at least an 8th gen Intel processor or a 7th gen AMD processor. They're at the same time. They release both generations at the same time. So basically those are current year processors that are out right now. You must have a current year processor or the next generation that's coming out. If you don't, you can't load Windows on the computer. This is why customers come to me with older computers and they say, hey, I want you to put Windows 10 on this. I think it'll run. They don't realize that the hardware is too old. Like literally, we'll try to install Windows 10 and maybe the computer can run it, but Microsoft will say, no, you can't install Windows 10 on this computer. It's too old. And you don't want to get stuck in that situation when you're buying a new computer, or maybe if you have someone in your family that's building a computer, make sure they're not buying the cheap older processors because they can find them cheaper on eBay or something, because the Windows 10 won't install on there. It just makes everything a little muddier for everybody and a little tougher to understand, which is unfortunate. Last thing, Apple's macOS Catalina. LibreOffice users are getting a scary malware message. Apple warned macOS developers in June that all Mac apps that are signed with a developer ID will also need to be notarized by Apple. This is to improve security of the programs that run on the Mac. Apple promised it would enable a more streamlined gatekeeper interface when users download macOS apps from the App Store. Well, Apple's industry service scans apps, blah, 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 blah. During the beta test, some LibreOffice users noticed that Apple's gatekeeper warnings had the potential to scare off Libre users. It says that LibreOffice can't be opened because its integrity cannot be verified, which is super scary, right? So basically, they're going to fix this. But if you see this right now, it's not because there's a virus or anything like that. It's just because they have to get their signature updated and everything is good to go. All right, guys, thank you for joining us on the program today. I hope I educated a little bit. I hope I entertained a little bit. I hope you got something from the show today, because that's what we're here to do. In the meantime, throughout the week, if you have a problem with your computer, we have 3 service centers to help you out and make sure your computer runs the way you want it to. Microsoft has pushed the Windows 10 update from October to November, so if you purchase Safe Upgrade, you're okay. It's not out yet. You didn't miss it. If you haven't purchased Safe Upgrade for your computer yet, you can check it out at SchrockInnovations.com. We talked about it at length in previous shows, but we only have about 160 or 150 copies left. So make sure that you get on that if that's something that you want us to install, that big Microsoft update that's coming in November for you. All right, thanks for joining us, guys. Have a great afternoon. We'll talk to you again next weekend for Compute This. All right, and that's how it's done. 56 minutes of audio total. We have 2 minutes of news at the top of the hour, 2 minutes for news at the bottom of the hour. Oh, shoot, I'm a little long there. Oh, I got some 5-second blocks of time Scott can pull out. Then that's the magic of radio. So I take a lot of breaths when I talk because, expelling audio requires the intake of oxygen. They can cut all my breath. They have like an algorithm that will cut the breaths out. So it sounds like I never inhale. It's the weirdest thing when you hear it. They can also compress the audio. So if you speed up audio, you get to be like, it starts to sound like one of those disclaimers on an insurance commercial, right? But if you speed it up just a little bit, so over an hour of audio, a lot of times you don't realize this, but all audio on the radio is sped up slightly. They have this thing called a delay dump. So if I accidentally drop an F-bomb or something on the radio, Emily can hit delay dump and it drops the last 8 seconds of audio. And then over the course of audio, it builds that delay dump back up. So what it's doing is it's slowing me down just a little bit, not enough that you would really notice it, but just enough. And so then it's got 8 seconds of dump again, and she can drop. So if we have a caller that calls in and says something inappropriate, we don't have that go over the air. Basically, we're a family show. We keep it cool. So anyway, it's kind of fun. But anyway, so they'll be able to compress this and figure this out for me. Thank you for joining us, guys. I appreciate it. I'm sorry I was not live today. Of course, there will not be an aftershock because I'm not here. I'm in a tent. But with that said, we'll be back here again next Sunday for another live show. So be sure you join us. Thanks for being a Schrock customer. We appreciate it. Thanks for being a fan of the show. We'll see you again next weekend, guys. And we are out.